features. We just have to uh, directly get to know what we need in this UI component and just create it. And the noise developers, that any fresher or anyone when we hire, we just have to give them tell them that okay, use this particular main header menu component and add it on the top. Add Next you have to add the what you say the um, tabs, that is the tab view, and then you have to list it. So they can just directly use these components. And also with the help of this TypeScript that I mentioned, it is very easy to use this particular component to, like I mentioned, social button. If uh, I'll just add this, I don't need to remember what are the things that I need to provide to this particular component. I just have to press control space or command space in the Mac, and it just displays me the things that I need to provide to it. So with the help of this TypeScript too, this becomes more powerful. And Yeah, so I'll just move forward with. So other than that, it would be good if we like list out all what a user is made up of. For example, we know that we have users in our Ethora app. It can be me or it can be others. So, but all the users is made up of maybe if I don't know if I have missed something. All the users are made up of this particular properties, that is wallet address, their first name, last name, avatar, username, and so on. So if we have this information, whenever we want to make any changes, like for example, if I'm working on a chat screen and I want to send some information, I know that a user is made up of these things and I need to have these things provided. So I don't, whenever I want, sorry, whenever I want to make any changes or in for example in chat screen, um, I don't have to like remember okay what were the things that I needed for this. I just know that these are the things. I know these are the important ones. Maybe some of them might be an option. I have that information. So whenever so the main point is whenever I'm uh, developing anything, creating anything, coding something, I have a sure information that okay, these are the things that I have, and that will make me make better components and better uh, code structure. So so rather than so every what right now what happens is every time we because we don't you might ask that why can't we remember this, or maybe if we are working on this every day, why can't we remember this? I'm not able to remember it because I'm not working on this every day. I work in multiple things, and because of that, this particular keeping this information becomes a bit difficult. So rather than keeping it in our mind, we can document it. This will also make create a documentation uh, uh, rich also create a rich documentation for our application. And so other than the users, other things is what each chat room is made up of, like the natural room name, the room JID participant. Similarly, what each message is made up of. What is a message? Message is message ID, text, sender JID, receiver JID. What type of message is it? A media file message or not? These information. And at the end, if we have all this information, we just have to follow the process. That is, once we have the screens and features listed out and all the graphs created, we can determine and create intelligent components, or change the current one to intelligent. Determine which components or helpers constants can be reused. Every time we are developing a new feature, we must first check this graph and other lists that we created. This will give us insights and infos which will help us to determine on how to break this feature into components, helpers, or constants. Like I mentioned, each screen can be divided into components, and each component might require some helpers. Like for example, convert this into ddmmyy function, convert this wallet address into underscored manipulated string wallet address. These are small helper functions. So each component is composed of those, can be composed of those helpers. We get those inside, and we can create better and optimized component using these information. Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense, Vineeth.
yeah,
Thanks very much.
yeah.
So I actually started to do some of that in the
Uh-huh.
QA checklist document, so I can show you quickly on my screen.
Sure. Let me just.
And then you can go back to sharing yours.
Sure.
So basically, so the QA checklist document. So here it's mainly for QA check, but QA check is like fundamental to every project. And obviously, as you correctly mentioned, in our product, most of the components and UI is stabilized. So so that means that we can actually determine, how exactly the things should work. So we have like the font and branding guidelines page. We have the visual stuff that we can check, but also we have the like what's expected and the components. So I mean UI components. So that was you were referring to. So for example, navbar is consisting of top header, which should use background light color, and nav header, which should use background dark color. And then for when we do customizations for projects, it will be easy for the developers and QA people and project managers to just look at this and see, okay, in our branding guidelines, background light and background dark is, night space is the dark one and ethereal blue is the light one. And then,
actually,
yeah.
Are you sharing the screen, Taras?
Yeah.
Because I'm not able to see, I think.
Oh, sorry. Let me see. He doesn't want to share the whole screen, but I can share the tab, I guess. So can you see now?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. I'm showing that. Okay, so we have the QA checklist in our wiki website. Wiki engine is a great way to organize documentation, obviously. So we have like branding guidelines, and we have the visual, like, and you can see primary colors. Night space is a dark one, and ethereal blue is the light one.
Yeah, I applied this particular.
And then if we go into like description, we see that there is navbar UI component, which consists of the top header and which should use background light, and nav header, which should use background dark. And is similar to what you explained. So there is application title, balance box, and menu item. So it's not finished this like fully, but after we, I think shortly we can finish the first version of this document. It will be easier for everybody. Then obviously another important thing. So this is like for external like checks, but this will be useful for developers as well. Another thing which you correctly mentioned is like the data components or entities. So for example, users, the chat room, and the like things like balances or whatever is used for caching. So yeah, 100% agree. We should just clearly identify those. So in the user profile, there could be like additional things like emails and stuff like that. So it will be very useful, and we will do that. So for the screens, yeah, I mean we don't have like, it's easy to add here as well. So we'll add illustrations of different components, and we will add screens here. So it hopefully will be easier for everybody. Okay, I just wanted to show you this. We can go back to your
Yeah.
thing. Thank you.
Yeah. One moment. Yeah. So I have like most of the things that have written here, most of the things I have mentioned. So similar to that, the thing that I mentioned initially, that is this was mostly related to mobile app. Similarly, we can do this to both of these server. Why this is important is, for example, if you take yesterday's scenario itself, the push notification thing, we don't know exactly why the thing is happening. Like how Ethora's push notification is given by Habla. I mean, we know that the same is happening, but we are getting confused why this is. So what we can do is we can list for example, in terms of push notification, if it's from XMPP server, this if it's handled from XMPP server, we can list like a visual or maybe a simple uh, text documentation that mentions that okay, the push notification works in this manner. For example, whenever the user sends any message, it is hit the XMPP hits the push notification. How it hits, it uses what are the information that it uses when it hits the push notification. That is the server name, domain name, and all the other stuffs, and how the mobile end accepts it. So this connection between these servers, that is mobile app XMPP, mobile app DApp server, and if DApp server and XMPP2, uh, the information and the connection between any feature and how these feature connects the server with each other. If we have those information, whenever any such issue arises, we can tackle it very easily. Okay, so this happened. Okay, so this happened because okay, how this works. This might be the issue. We can easily guess and easily debug the issue, and the issue will be resolved if we follow these things on this both the server and too. I'm not sure exactly. I'm just mentioning it in the higher level thing, in not in the detailed manner. Maybe as we move forward, we would know exactly what are the things that we need to achieve this. So yes, I guess that is this is what I
Yeah.
have to.
So here you mean some sort of like network diagram or like the client
Yeah, yeah,
server like
exactly.
mapping of
Yes.
data that they exchange.
Yes. So with this, what will happen is we could also determine where this particular issue might have arise. Is it from the mobile app? Is it from the DApp server? Or is it from the XMPP server? Uh, because we know that in regards with push notification, XMPP server does these things, and DApp server does these things, and mobile app does these things. So if something happens, we can determine okay, this happens because is because mobile app has some is not sending something, and that's the reason why it's not receiving it, or something like that. These scenarios. So. So
Yeah.
basically, what I'm aiming to is that we should know the in and outs and the connection between the mobile app server, both the servers and the servers among themselves too. And other than that, if we are able to like in future, if we are able to get a detailed structure of each module too, like the mobile app, like we are doing it right now for the DApp server and also for the XMPP server. So this will create like a list of information, and with those information, we can plan new things. Like if we want to introduce something new, we would know exactly what constraints we have. Is it achievable? If it's not, how much time will it take for us to implement that? Because we know the interdependency if we want to implement anything in any of the modules, and thus we would like at the end we would the product, the output that we have is very optimized and future proof too. That's what I believe.
Okay. No, I agree 100%. But basically, what you're saying is like we need to have proper documentation for the product,
Yes,
for the
yes. I
technical
mean,
documentation.
yeah, whatever we have done yet, we need to write it down in some organized manner so that we can use it the next time. That's the whole picture, I would say. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's all obviously sounds great. Like in practice, what happens is because we keep doing development and some things are
Yes.
like being implemented, like some innovations. So sometimes we are not like keeping up with documentation. Sometimes things are stored like we heard, for example, we have like GitLab repositories for like the plugins which happen at the XMPP server, and we have GitHub repository for Ethora, and sometimes things are stored in different repositories, like some sort of basic documentation. And I agree with
Right.
you 100% that this should be done. But I think this, like, the team should also participate in this, like, including like yourself, obviously, because you have this experience. So nobody can like do it for us. So we can,
Right.
I can do some of these things. I can like guide. I can like structure the head document, like that blueprint or like the wiki website and how things are
Yeah.
structured. But it's important job for the whole team to make sure that the documentation is there and it's kept updated. So yeah, I agree. Otherwise, it's all really 100% relevant. So, and I will do like from my side, what I'm going to do is this QA checklist that I started to do will just keep updating it. I will add other team members to keep improving that, but
Sure.
also from the architecture, from the components like data components, like network diagrams side of the things. For example, to explain the user object and to explain how the application interacts with the chat server. So that's where we'll. I mean, I can like do some like initial thing, but then it will need some help from you, from Alexei, from
Sure.
others, like to actually make sure that is reflects how it is right now.
Sure.
Okay.